director of the new Raisin Center for Social Justice, and I have some snazzy brochures on our center if you'd like to pick one up on your way out. Come on in, guys. You missed my introduction. You'll be going in anyways. And so some of the great work that the center does is try to bring together a variety of programs that already are in existence and make sure we're getting the most out of those programs. And two such programs are the Rwanda trip and the Kentucky trip. Trips that we've been doing for a number of years, Kentucky for much longer. But both have been long-standing traditions here at Westover, and so that's a great benefit to you, that you're not joining something that we're starting from scratch. You know, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have these long-standing traditions, so that makes it that much easier. So as I said to some of you who were in the lunch meeting earlier today, I know that I'm sort of preaching to the choir because you're here, you're already interested, but I really mean it when I say, even though it might seem a little cheesy, that these are the experiences that shape who you are, the kind of young woman that you're going to become. These are the kinds of experiences that set you on a particular kind of path. And we were talking earlier at lunch how, yes, these are the sorts of things that look good on college applications, but that's because colleges like these kinds of experiences, because it means you're headed down this path already. You're going to work for justice. You're excited about getting to know different kinds of people, trying new kinds of things, being adventurous. And so these, even though they're very different, Kentucky and Rwanda, in some ways these experiences are actually quite similar because we want you to get outside of your comfort zone and try something new and try something that's not just for yourself, even though you will greatly benefit from these experiences. The idea is that you're also giving back. So I have actually been to neither Kentucky nor Rwanda, but I have extensive experience doing service work in the US and internationally, and I've planned trips to Rwanda before, but I just wanted to say that those experiences that I've had, where I've been going to a leprosy colony in Ghana, or unable to drink water or eat fruits and vegetables for 5 months in India, shaped who I became. And I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything. They were some of the most difficult things I ever did, and so rewarding. So you have a lot of details in front of you, and we can certainly go over all that, and this is basically a time for questions. But I just wanted to give you that commercial for these trips, that these are the things, they're going to be challenging, they're going to include measured risk-taking, but the idea is that you're going to be stronger because of it, you'll be more resilient, and you'll be that Westover, that ideal Westover girl. So there are some people here in the room who have been on the Kentucky trip previously, and can say a great deal about that awesome experience. And then there are some people who have also been to the Rwanda trip. And so what I'd like to do is just say a few more words about the general goals for both trips, and then maybe we can go over some specifics about Kentucky and specifics about Rwanda, and then see what questions you have. So, does that sound okay? Great, thank you. All right, so the two trips, some other similarities they both have. There's going to be work that we're going to do beforehand, because the more work you put in beforehand, the more you'll get out of it, right? The more thoughtful you are, the more mindful you are about what it is you're doing or trying to do and trying to achieve. That means you'll be more present in that experience. And so both trips are going to require some meetings beforehand, and some work in terms of fundraising or collecting items that will be helpful, or we don't still know exactly what real needs we're going to meet, but we're going to be doing some thoughtful work on that before the trip. And then during both trips, there's a reflective component. You want to be thinking about this experience and what you're learning from it, even if it's in that moment really difficult, because we're doing this together as a group. This is something unique. You're not just going as a tourist and never gonna think about it again. We want you to be thoughtful about this during the trip, and then that leads directly into what you do when you come back and when you're trying to process this and trying to figure out what do you do next, how do you talk about it, and how do you tell other people about it, and how do you share your experience and what you learned. So those three components are part of both, hopefully any experience you have, really. You're gonna prepare for it, and then try to get the most out of it, and then share, because we want these experiences to be something that everyone can learn from. So, one other bit I think that's key to just put in your heads now and keep in your heads the whole time is that neither trip will be successful, or neither have been successful in the past, if people are not as open as they possibly can. Everyone has a different level of tolerance and openness to whatever they're going to meet, whomever they're going to meet, whatever experience they're going to come in contact with. But if you don't have that sense of openness and willingness to try, it's going to be hard. You might cry, you might laugh, you might do it all, but if you don't have that, at least openness to embrace that adventure, then you want to start to think about that and start to work on that now. It's not a good idea to start working on that like 3 days in, especially Kentucky. You'll be almost done. Okay, so are there any questions about this sort of the general philosophy behind these experiences, or questions about that stuff? All right, great. Do we want to have some volunteers? Perhaps I can introduce Rich Beebe, who has been doing this trip for, I don't even really...
The last 2 years.
Okay.
Essentially, I mean, one other trip about 22 years ago.
Right. So maybe Rich can talk a little bit about the trip in general, and it'd be great if some of the past participants could just share a little nugget of what they learned from their experience.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, the forms that we passed out about Kentucky has most of the information about it, but it's basically an 8-day trip, half of which is spent traveling to and from Kentucky. It's about a 15-hour trip. We stopped in Cumberland, Maryland for the night, both directions. But it's going to be held from Saturday, June 27th to, it will be getting back on Saturday, July 4th. So it's 2 days down, so the program actually runs 4 days in Kentucky. The last 2 years that we've been doing it, we had been doing it in conjunction with the Jackson County School District's remedial enrichment summer program for their kids, which were K through 5th graders. Because this year they didn't need us as much, although I think we still made a valuable contribution in working with the kids in the program. Ruthie Sizemore, who is our contact down there, she's head of the Tyner Family Resource Center, which deals with a lot of needy families, families in need, people who need a little bit more attention. Ruthie is going to be helping us organize so that we have our own summer camp down there, which will be a day camp. We're sort of flipping the model around. We as the camp operators will actually be staying at a campsite overnight, but the kids will be coming in during the day and leaving. And so our goal is to actually develop, design, and run a day camp for a number of kids. I'm not quite sure how many we're going to be getting. Ruthie's not sure, but we're hoping that we'll get at least a couple of dozen of them from Jackson County. In addition to that, and that program basically will run in the morning into the early afternoon. It will be at the site that we'll actually be staying at, which we stayed at 2 years ago, which is the Anvil Institute, which is a local community services organization that it's a really neat place. I think the girls who were there 2 years ago can attest to it. It's got, I'm losing that word again. Where are we sleeping? In bunkhouses, thank you. I get my own because I'm the only male. The rest of you are going to be in a bunkhouse in the other side. Your bunkhouse will have bathrooms, although not showers, and the showers are in a separate building, complete with baths on occasion. And then we also have a large facility on a pond, which will include a large kitchen with a complete, refrigerators, freezers, stoves, cooking, all sorts of cooking supplies, and then a large eating area and even a deck overlooking the pond. It's really quite nice. When I was there 22 years ago, it was not all that fancy. The bunkhouses, in fact, are even air conditioned now, which relieves a lot of the June and July heat of Kentucky. The other part of the program, by the way, the Anvil Institute also includes a swimming pool, so that there will be a point during the day when we probably will be able to take the kids into the pool. The Anvil Institute provides its own lifeguards, so we're just assisting with activities with the kids at the pool. We may also do some hosting in the evenings for families, a pool party, as we did a couple years ago, a dinner, with or without thunderstorms, as we did 2 years ago. And then in addition, we will also be doing some, as we did last summer, working with families in need that have been identified by the Tyner Family Resource Center. The girls, the students, and several alumni that joined us, and Laura Schwartzberg, coordinated a repair project, or actually a building of a fence to help one family that lives in literally a trailer that they've sort of upgraded a little bit, and they built a fence to help with their toddler son so he didn't go literally rolling underneath the trailer or down the hill. And we also purchased a lot of supplies for a bedroom for the toddler's older sisters. The second house, we actually did some power washing and some other repair work around the home. We're hoping that we'll be able to get some other families that we can visit as well and work with. And these are people who, I should state that Jackson County has been identified in a national study as being the second poorest county in the United States. There's a cluster of the 5 of the 10 poorest counties in the United States are all in eastern Kentucky, and this is the second one, the second most poor by a set of indices. Our girls in the last 2 years have gotten to meet a number of families, a number of kids, and they actually created bonds because we did part of the program for 2 years. So when we went back to last year, and 4 of the 5 students from the year before joined us again, they actually got to reconnect with a lot of the families and the kids, and those who went for the first time this year, I think also had a great time bonding with the students and the opportunity. In addition to myself and Laura Schwartzberg, the third chaperone for the trip looks to be Meg Eggert, our Dean of Students. So she will be sharing the driving duties. And we also may have at least one and possibly a couple other members of the class of 2000 who've also helped as volunteers. Maura Tansley, who's a governor, and Vicki Vieira, who may or may not be able to join us this year because of some other commitments. But she's also a governor, and they both came in and were incredible role models, mentors, victims of some practical jokes, and other activities. There really are 3 really amazing women who went with us last year. The third one was Caitlin Lampman. Again, I'm hoping that they'll be able to join us again this year. We're hoping that maybe a couple of other alumni might be joining us in their place if they're not able to. But it actually adds to the enrichment part of the program and really makes it a really valuable experience, I think, above and beyond just meeting with the families and doing the work. The cost of the program is probably going to stay at what last year's rate was, which is $300 per student. That covers everything, or virtually covers everything. The balance of the funds to run the program, a fund was established about a year ago, which allows us to draw from funds. We've also, I just found out today, we've been giving a gift of $1,000 from Dorcas. So that helps to cover the balance of the funds. So on the way down, and the way back, we stay at a hotel, not the fanciest, but a hotel, the Slumberland Inn in Cumberland, Maryland. And we eat at restaurants, and all the meals are covered by the funds that have been given to us, either through your $300 payment or through the funds that we've raised in the past and are drawing from. We do pay for the stay at the camp. We cook our own meals, and we actually ask the students to kick in and help with the meal preparation as well, and as cleanup. I end up usually doing the washing of the dishes because I am a horrible cook, so I take that on as my duty as well as driver. And essentially, it's an amazing program. My wife actually helped to initiate the program back in the mid-1980s, ran it for a number of years. With the birth of our daughter, she stopped for several years and then reinstituted the program at Ann Polina's request in the late 90s, ran it for several more years before her final illness. And then 3 years ago, we started the program again because members of the class of 2000, Maura Tansley and several other members, were planning on going back on their own as a trip and invited myself and my daughter back with us, to go with us. And I said, great, I'm not sure my daughter wants to go. Could we bring Westover students? And that allowed us to initiate the program again. So it's been jump-started by some amazing alumni. And I'll finish up here, but the other thing that has happened is that alumni who have gone, students who have gone with the program over the last 30 years at various times, many of them have stayed in contact with people that we've gotten to know down there and have remained in contact with them. And so when we've gone down and seen these folks that we've known for 30 years, they'll often bring up the names of alumni who they've heard from, or have kept in contact with, or have even visited on occasion. They've actually gone down and visited Jackson County as well. The people are very poor, but they're very generous of heart and very generous of spirit. There are problems that are common to everywhere. There's crime, there's a serious drug abuse problem, there are meth labs, marijuana growers, there's high unemployment, there's a lot of poverty, and the students will ask us questions. There's a lot of, the children, I mean, will ask us a lot of questions and ask the girls a lot of questions about their lives. And so it's a very eye-opening experience. It's a very life-changing experience for a lot of our alums. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. The 5 students who, I think are maybe 6, who went on the trip before are Sarah, Nola, Zuli, Chelsea, and Jillian. So the 5 of them have gone on the trip before, so in a couple of instances twice. So you must be doing something right. So, any questions? Yes?
How many students get to go?
We're probably going to, we're going to play with that number. A lot depends on how many spaces we have in the 2 vehicles that we end up taking. And the other thing is we have to make sure we have enough work for all of you to do while we're down there. Last year we went with 9 students, ended up with 3 alumni, and then Laura, myself, and Laura's daughter. Laura's daughter, Leanna, will be going again. So I'm thinking we usually max out, historically in the past, around 12 students, maybe 14. So if we have more than that who sign up, usually by the time the trip happens, we usually have some people that, because of personal circumstances, end up dropping off. We haven't had to turn down anyone in the first 2 years. But obviously with each year, and because of the great experiences that these guys share, we seem to be getting a lot more interest, so which is great, which is exactly what we wanted to go to do. So at this point, maybe about a dozen or so. And if we end up having to make a decision, it'll probably be the older students will probably be given, because that'll be their last opportunity, or one of the last opportunities, and then because we're trying to do this program on every year basis. So as long as we can keep on doing that, it'll be great. But again, I have a feeling that most of us who want to go will end up going. So.
Jill, we'll definitely be alums.
Maybe. We hope so.
Yeah. If we're split, time will tell.
Are there,
Any other questions? Oh, we do allow cell phones and stuff, and the so the students are able to keep in touch. Those of them who are lucky enough to have the right Verizon connections.
Verizon is.
The rest of us are walking around looking for bars on the phone. It's a dry county, by the way.
Thank you, Rich. Are there gems from your previous experiences that you guys would like to share? Why should people go on this trip, perhaps?
You can mingle. Go, Sarah.
It was really eye-opening for me. I mean, my family was a foster family, so like I've seen different, different social settings and everything. Being down there was very different. Just like what the expectation was. Like a lot of the children would ask me like if I was married or if my older sister was married, if I had any children of my own, or like if I had my own room, or if I'd ever seen the ocean. Just like little things that I took for granted like that. And it was even more of an impact because when I came back home, 3 days later I went on a vacation with my own family, and just like the vast differences of what luxury I was able to have and took for granted was very different. Made me appreciate it a lot more.
Gems? Nuggets?
It's the same thing where it's really eye-opening, but it is such a beautiful place and people are just so friendly, and it was really awesome to see a different type of like norm for people. Like similar to what Sarah said, it was cool.
Yeah, and there are a lot of different ways to do justice work, right? But this is going and connecting with people as opposed to just giving money or working on a problem from a distance, which is amazing, and that's the goal. And then on the flip side, as much as you think you're going to be giving to them, you're going to be getting hopefully even more back in terms of what you learn about yourself and how your perspective shifts. Any other questions about Kentucky? Yeah.
Are we driving up? Oh, okay.
It's a long drive.
Driving down.
It's a down. They're driving down and then also.
Oh, there's a lot of up and down.
It is fun though. Like the car ride
I
was
saw
fun.
a bear.
We saw a bear. Yeah, we saw a little bear
I
cub.
saw a bear.
Like our car was ahead of your car, which is why we saw it first. But it was also a lot of chickens and cows.
I saw a bear.
So many cows
I didn't
and
see the US.
peacocks too, which was surprising.
Wait, so how long is the drive?
15
hours.
But we stopped in
Yeah.
Maryland.
Yeah, so it's 8 hours and 8 hours. More or less.
Is it on the Westover
We actually are taking the, we're not taking a bus, trust me, we're not taking a bus. We'll take a couple of, there's the,
River vans.
yeah, the stretch band, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
No,
then,
trust me, it gets comfy.
It's not too
Okay.
far.
It is
oh
really
yeah,
comfortable. You won't
these
fall
guys
asleep.
slept for 15 hours on the way down.
That is very true.
Except for one van that sang a lot.
Which is why they were in that van and not in the sleeping car.
But we were the fun van.
Yeah, Laura didn't think so.
I had it to pretty loud.
Well, we could, if we could dismiss the Kentucky people if you're only interested in Kentucky and you feel like you have all your questions answered, and you don't want to sit around and be inspired by
Rwanda.
details about Rwanda, then you can go and do your homework.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or if you just want to stay.
Katie, you gotta say and listen to this Rwanda one.
Okay.
I want to go to Rwanda, but I'm limited to one international travel a year.
Well, maybe in another couple of years. So,
I grew up overseas, kind of done with that for a while.
Your mom went on the Kentucky trip, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yes.
alright, see you there. I might still work
Thank
on you
you.
later. Thanks, Sarah. Alright, well, so then perhaps we could share a little bit about your experience. Mr. Dunn, Mrs. Dunn. I also did want to say that the Dean's office is being well represented on these trips. Tracy Lytle is one of our official trip leaders for the Rwanda trip. And we're still determining the second trip leader at this point, but there will be two, and there will be
Mr. Dunn?
hopefully, yes, yes. So, and you know, those meetings that I referenced before, and that, you know, sort of being thoughtful and mindful about this preparation, there's trip leader preparation as well. And we want to make sure that, because for adults it's a challenging experience, and so, you know, rest assured the adults will also be, you know, as prepared as you possibly can. Our motto is, you know, to plan everything as much as possible to the last detail, and then also be totally flexible, because you're going to have your detailed itinerary, and then some days you're just going to, not literally, but figuratively throw that out the window. And because something new is going to come up, or something's going to change, and it's going to be a different trip all of a sudden. So, and that's part of the sort of overseas risk management trip planning. That, as I said before, I haven't gone to Rwanda, but thankfully I do have experience in planning these and going to other countries. So I think that would be helpful if you guys wanted to share maybe some of those gems or nuggets about, you know, your experience in Rwanda, and perhaps maybe even something that you were really nervous about before going, that probably everybody in the room is also nervous about. They might benefit from hearing about your experience.
Yeah, for us, like, the flight alone originally was, you know, something we were concerned about. It's a long flight, and I haven't ever traveled overseas before, so Zuli, you know, came to me and she's like, yeah, we're going to Rwanda, so of course I'm like, all right, whatever. And there were supposed to be like 8 students and family members to go, and it ended up just being Zuli and I, so we were fortunate to hook up with the Miriam Initiative out of Boston. There's a group of women, some related to Westover or Westover alums, that, you know, funded a lot of the monies for the school that they built over there. So when we got there, we got there at night, so we fly in and we get off the plane and we get to the airport, and we had a driver there. We met up with our people, and they brought us to the hotel. So we're driving through the night. We don't know what's going on. New adventure, new place. So we get in the hotel and we go to sleep. We woke up the next morning and looked out the window, and it literally was like the most beautiful place you could see. It's the land of, you're from there. It is the land of 1,000 hills. It was really beautiful. But then you see a lot of people with machine guns there and stuff, so you're nervous.
Yeah, we were like, oh my god.
Yeah, oh my God, what is this place?
What is
You know?
this place?
But once you meet the people, like our driver took us around, and we mentioned Nicole's mom, and everyone knew her, and it was like home, like we felt like we were at home. So we started venturing out on our own, walking around everywhere.
And I was like, let's just go take a
Yeah,
shot.
let's go see what's going on. So as far as your safety, I know there's like, if you go on the State Department websites, there's different warnings that you have to be aware of and stuff like that. But the people in general there, you're gonna feel safe. I mean, you're gonna be safe. You're with, especially when you're at the school, you're with a lot of people who are gonna care about you while you're there. And then if you go to Gardens for Health, these people have been intertwined with the culture and the people there, and they're doing a lot of great work. So a lot of people, help them and make sure that they're safe the whole time. But I think in general, I mean, you live there, so Rwanda, you don't, like, as far as tourists, there's never any problems there, right? There's not, like, they seem to have a good handle on, safety there. You have a lot of police available, and I think the people in general aren't, they're not looking to harm anybody, so. As far as safety, I wouldn't be concerned, but the work there is amazing. We went to the Mariana School, and the founders of Gardens for Health were 4 girls that went over there on the Clinton Initiative to eradicate AIDS, and they found that the children were malnourished over there, and the mother of the children, if you have AIDS over there and you're a woman, you're considered non-productive citizen, so they don't have anything to feed the kids. So they're fighting with the government to get like kitchen gardens for these women, so they can plant some crops to keep their kids nourished. And then they're teaching them about hygienes, and they have these workshops. So when you're there, you'll go with Gardens for Health to different provinces or counties, whatever the towns are, and there will be maybe 15 women that come with, 2 or 3 kids each, and you get to, while they're doing the workshop, you kind of entertain the kids or, talk with the women. Some of them speak like a dialect of English or broken English, but their stories and testimonials are amazing, like the things we heard. And seen, like we went to the Genocide Memorial, which was really, really, I think you have to, like you said, preparation before you go there, if you want to go there and have the full experience and not be overwhelmed, because the first couple of days we were there, we were coming back to our room and just, reflecting and stuff, and you almost felt like there was, it was overwhelming, and then once you started to see the works in the people and getting to know the culture and see the great work people are doing, you felt like there was hope for these kids that are malnourished, and every woman that they touched went back to their village and started a branch of the Gardens for Health where they were like the leader of the whatever they are, the workshops, and it slowly is spreading throughout the country when like Miss Belina said, like when you educate a woman, you're educating the world, and it's so amazing that to see this actually in place and working and starting to move out, but it does, like, it took us probably, after seeing the genocide, the school is amazing. I mean, that's a beacon of hope over there, the all-girls school. And we went to a meeting up in Boston, and what they're trying to decide now, because they did add on one more grade, and they're going to eventually get it to where it brings the kids right through high school. They're trying to figure out whether they should make this like the Taj Mahal or the Ritz-Carlton of schools, or should they keep it the way it is and replicate it throughout the country? Do they keep putting all their monies into this one school and just make this like the end-all be-all schools, or keep it at the level it is and just move on to put them in different parts of the country? So that'll be something you guys will see over there. And it's amazing that it only costs like $200 our money a year for a girl to go there, sleep there, live there, eat all their food there, and and it's so popular that everyone wants their kids in that school there, so they have to turn a lot of kids away. And Nicole's mom was the founder of this, of the idea that what this was born from. She doesn't want she wants it so that everyone gets educated. Like they were saying that the poor girls couldn't be educated over there. And she made this school where they're not just taking people that can afford it. They want to educate the poor girls, and everyone, lives together. Nobody's they all wear one uniform. Nobody wears any different.
They shave their heads.
They shave their heads. Nobody
long
wears
hairs
any
like a samurai.
different,
Well.
Shoes or earrings or clothes to make them stand out from the other ones. And you'll meet like Sister Juvenile, who's amazing. She runs the school over there.
Overall, phenomenal. It's great.
Yeah, it was. There was so many things. Like, it took us probably, like I wasn't sleeping. It's gonna take a lot out of you. Like, this isn't a trip that you're gonna go on, and it's hard. It's hard work. Just driving through the countryside is hard when you go out to different villages. You're driving through one trek, we were in a riverbed basically driving for 10 miles, so you're just bouncing around the whole ride. And then you're driving basically up a river. Like the road stops and you go through rivers, and then you use the river as your trail. And then when we came back, it was raining. Like, if anybody ever heard of the African rains, this rain came down so hard, so fast, that everywhere we drove, we were walking through
River.
rivers that were up to our knees. Yeah, like the pathways you use to get through the countryside become rivers, you know?
It was
It was
awesome.
amazing, it was amazing.
And we're going on another gorilla trek.
Yeah, I mean, everything there, like the flight over is 2 days, I mean, it's gonna take you 2 days to get there. Then the gorilla trek is a 2-day project, you drive, you know, out for 6 hours, depending on where you are at the time. You go, you stay overnight at a hotel close to there, and then you have to drive, hook up with your group. And then it's not, that's a tough trip too. It's not like, oh, we're going to see the gorillas, you're gonna drive to a zoo and look at gorillas. You drive, it takes you all day to get to the point you need to be, and then you literally climb up a mountain. And I got dragged, you get a porter, you drive into this village, like, and these are long drives, like in tough terrain. You get out and there's the base of your mountain, and they take like 7 or 8 people in each group, and you all head out, like 3-hour rides out from the base to each different volcano, basically, right? There are volcanoes over there. And you're driving 3 hours out through these riverbeds, and then you get out and you're looking at a volcano, and then they have
Like
the
you're
whole
hiking
town, like there's a little village down below, and they're all waiting out there, and 7 lucky people, or 8, or how many ever you need, get picked out of these 100 guys at the base of the mountain to help you up the mountain. And when I say it's not Disneyland, or even like if you've been to like Animal Kingdom down there, they literally chop their way through the jungle, and everyone you meet has an AK just in case anything goes wrong, because they're basically out there every day with the gorillas anyway, looking for poachers. So people, you know, still try to poach the gorillas and stuff, so these guys are really protecting them, and then they take you on the trip. But I got a guy that was really strong, and he literally pulled me up the hill. I mean, it's a 2-hour trek to where the gorillas are. And there's like 5 guys out in the area, and then you're with your team, and we meet 2 guys at the base, and they're in constant communications to see where the gorilla are. So we went into a family of 19 gorillas. There were 4 silverbacks, and you're literally, like, you're this close to them. They can come and touch you, but you can't touch them. And you really don't go near the silverbacks. They're probably about as far as you away, but they speak, your tour guide speaks to them. There's like, 20 different words they use, or sounds, and they know whether they're gonna let you approach or not.
And then
We had the one with the
little
baby, like there was a 4-month-old baby gorilla. It was amazing.
and like we started to approach the baby, and
Yeah.
it just started, it like got up, started
Yeah.
beating its chest. Yeah.
I mean, it's so beautiful. That was like not even a real experience. And then one of the silverbacks had one of their claws taken off by a trap. So yeah, it's really cool.
If you get a chance, ask Mrs. Polino what happened when she went on the gorilla trip. She'll have a story to tell you.
Yeah, that's a good trip, but it's not a trip where it's, going to your local zoo. You could have a snack or do whatever. Everything is tough. Like I got sick over there from the food because I got really confident. I was there for like 3 days and I was eating everything. I even found a pizza place over there, believe it or not. Pizza was really good. But we went into this village way out, way out into the woods, and we
With
went
Gardens for Help.
into a village with Gardens for Help, and I went down to the town center where they have, every town center will have like a watering pump. That's amazing too, because you're 2 miles from the center of town at Gardens for Help, and you see these young kids with like these big heavy jugs of water on their head, just walking up this long hill for miles. So getting water is it's not like going to your sink and just turning the faucet on, but, so we were there for a few days, and I was eating, I'm feeling good, so we went into the town and I got one of them pastries with the meat and the eggs inside. You know, the samosa.
There's like a boiled egg in the middle,
Yeah.
you know, it's been sitting there for a long
So
time.
really, about 30 minutes after I ate it, I like started seeing stars, and I knew something was wrong. You know. And it was probably 24 hours of the worst time in my life. I probably could-
You can all learn
Like
from that.
sleeping.
Yeah.
And not do the same thing.
So the trip it's amazing, and it's like you said, you get so much more out of it, you know, but it takes, you know, we've been on different missionary or you know, trips, and you know, they're quick, and you see stuff you're used to, and you know, something you can understand. Rwanda was just different than that. It took, even today, there's some, you know, I drive a lot, so I'm always alone with my thoughts. There's things that'll come to me that bring me back there, and it's you know, there's a lot to process when you finish with Rwanda. And it draws you back. Like, as soon as I got back here, I saw Alexia and Noella, and I felt like, you know, they were like part of my family now, you know, like just from being to Rwanda, it really, there was something special about it.
We talk about like when we get there, how they're all African American or Africans, and we're like the only white people there. So like, Mzungu, Mzungu, and they're coming up to you, they're like wanting to touch you, and you're just like, whoa,
Yeah.
and like Dad, all these kids are like rushing towards him, and my dad's like, oh, I gotta touch everybody. I'm like,
Yeah.
Dad, come on.
Yeah, we went to this one place, and there had to be 1,000 kids there, and you know, the people we were with, you know, they've been there quite a few times, so they're all used to it. They're like doing their business, everyone's working and doing whatever. I'm just like with all the kids because, I don't know, I mean, my daughter was probably 2 at the time or whatever, and I really connect with, like, that's why I'm there. Like, for me, it's just different. You know, a lot of them were malnourished, and you know, they were like, you gotta wash your hands and stuff, and
My dad's like,
yeah, whatever. I mean, I just want to hug every one of them. You know?
like for me seeing that, like seeing my dad, all I did was I cried when I saw him. Like it just was just like so
Yeah.
powerful, because it's like, I don't know, it's just
Yeah, I
phenomenal.
love it. I love that part of it. Like, you know, there's other things to do there, like, you know, you can help in the gardens with Gardens for Health. We could go on different, you know, not tours, but different works that they're doing. There was an opportunity for us to go to like a hospital or something, which we didn't do.
Because he was sick.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, so there's, and then the genocide memorials are, I don't know if you've been to any of them. Yeah, we went to one of them, and there's, you know, the other thing, there's 10 million people in Rwanda, and it's probably the size of like Maryland. It's really small, and it's landlocked, and there's one mental health hospital in the whole country, so there's a lot of people still dealing with from 20 years ago, because where we went to the genocide, it was a church that they just kept everything the way it was, because Rwanda's 85% Catholic, and the 94 genocide was where they, you know, there was like 900 to 1 million people who died there in 100 days, but before that there were always small conflicts, like 10,000, 20,000, and people would run to the church, and that was kind of like off limits. Once you got to the church, you were kind of safe. And with this last genocide, that didn't matter anymore. So they kept this church the way it is, and there's a lot of people, or especially older women that are there every day that mourn, and they just clean the whole place, and they just stay there, you know, still mourning, because people lost their whole families. especially if, you know, they were Hutu and Tutsi families together. It was really, that was incredibly, I mean, that's probably the one thing that was the most horrifying and tough to process, especially for a freshman, because Miss Blaine even asked me if I thought freshmen should go on
Yeah.
that part of it, but I think it depends on the person, you know.
I think that's where, as much as we can do to educate and prepare beforehand, and then you have this, you're making an educated choice whether you want to have that particular experience, and you know there would be ways to reflect afterwards. I think it seems like I haven't been there. An important part of that experience, you know, it's reality, but you also you have to be sensitive to everybody's level of comfort for sure.
And the growth there is amazing, like the people back together, and, you know, they stop everything, clean the country one Saturday a month, and
Last Saturday.
that was probably the most amazing thing, was how clean it was. There, you know, like you would think, like even in the United States, you got gutters that are full with garbage or whatever. There's everything.
Spotless.
If they have a dirt porch area, they're out there sweeping it, you know. No plastic bags, you can't bring plastic bags into the country, so that's a big factor. They're not all over the place. It is, it's really beautiful, really beautiful. So,
Questions, concerns?
I did introduce you earlier,
Okay.
but would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I just thought I'd sort of say
Yes.
that, just in case you're wondering who I am,
Mhm.
that
Please.
I've been at Westover for 13 years. I've been a dorm parent for 7 years. I'm just trying to show what has maybe given me experience
Yeah.
and being resilient. I have 3 of my own kids, and I've also spent time in some countries, and I love to travel. So I lived for a year in India. So at least as a leader, I don't think I'd be shocked by too many things. So I can be more on the side of supporting the students as they're learning, and you know, maybe being exposed to new things, new foods, new ideas. I took my own son traveling 2 summers ago to the Dominican Republic. He's a teenager, so just kind of know
Yeah.
some experience with teens and travel, and food, and culture shock.
Yeah.
So.
That's the kind of person that you want to have in your corner when you're, you know, going through some of this difficult stuff. And that's, sorry, I just feel like
That's
I
all.
cut
No,
you
just
off.
just a little background in case you're still pondering and wondering who's going to be traveling with your child. Just give you a little.
And another, you know, you're really lucky to go on this trip because there are a lot of schools who are doing this kind of thing. It's, you know, hip to do global stuff. And, you know, there are outside programs that schools bring in. Sometimes that's the way to do the experience. But then also sometimes, you know, they just, you know, reach out to a seemingly random organization and start a partnership. But we have the benefit of being sent people a number of times. Our head of school has gone. We have all these connections with the school there. And, you know, we have students, Rwandan students in our community. Are you talking, anything
It's
else?
7:22 there.
There's something going on. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, we can talk later.
Julie wants to ask some questions.
No, I mean, if we could, like, if your guys pass, we could stay until it's
Wrap it up. But yeah, I'll email whoever the person is and tell them to,
Okay.
like, sprint there.
Thank you.
But basically what I was saying is, you're lucky because Westover has these connections. They have these connections to Gardens for Health, to the school, to all these. Hopefully we'd see, go to a bakery that one of our alum has worked on there. So it's not that we're just contriving this or making it, you know, pulling it out of the blue. It's been a successful trip before, and so that makes it so much easier, and you'll get so much more out of it.
Kate Sabeth has been to the Marienda school at least a couple times to help with the computer programming and stuff, so she's been in the country as well, so she's another resource for you to ask, as well as our Rwandan students.
Yeah, yeah.
Is what's her name?
which one? Chris?
The main one. Daphne is
Oh.
Daphne.
Daphne.
Is Daphne gonna be down there?
I don't know, I think she's going in March, and I don't know who's gonna be there when our group is there. So, but that's, yeah, I mean, so I'm in contact with the Marino Initiative, and we're sort of working out all those details. I have the rough sketch of the itinerary there, that's the idea, but
Are we gonna have drivers there?
that's also the idea,
Okay.
yes, yes. So, but again, because we, you know, we have all those contacts already, so that
Yeah.
makes this so much easier. But it is one of the safest countries you can go to,
Right.
and tourism is such a big industry there. They have, the, you know, such a vested interest in making those experiences successful and safe.
Any
There's a
cars
lot
in
of
Ebola
growth
and
there,
stuff?
like a
Yeah.
lot of building.
No reported cases of Ebola. There's a screening process for all ports of entry. Just having nothing to do with Ebola, just drink bottled water
Bottled water.
and no food stations. Or
Fanta.
no
There's all
things.
that. There's only vegetables there. Like at the Gardens for Health, that's what basically
Avocado.
where we ate a lot, and they prepare a big meal every day for the whole community around there, and the food is safe to eat there. Obviously, they wash it and stuff. But
Yeah. Yeah, that's the
Yeah, and you'll get the hang of it, especially if you're over there. If you meet with Gardens for Health, you'll know what you can eat. Yeah, I know you can't eat where I ate. That's how sure.
We took what is it, the motos?
Oh,
Yeah.
I never taken one. I really
Oh,
want
we
to.
took them. They were awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Are you gonna be there?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna
Oh,
be
you're
there.
gonna be there.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Nicole
What
will be
about
there second week, I
Yeah, a
think?
week after.
Yeah.
And they graduated 2 years ago.
No, no, I
Yeah.
think I got it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought one of them was looking to get an intern this summer and might not be there. I don't know if it was. Who's at the school out in Ohio? Case Noella. I think she was looking to get a internship out there this year. That's what I heard from her. No, we'll see. We'll try to figure that out. before we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
But I heard she was trying to get an internship for the summer, and might not be over yet. I hope they are.
Even, you know, to make those connections, like we can Skype with them or something before the trip too, to like talk to someone else, get some other perspective and advice, all that stuff.
Is it
Questions?
Is it on command?
Well, you know, I emailed, whatever her name is.
Margaret.
Yes, because they are sending, they have their own trip this summer. And so I was hoping maybe to like meet up or connect. This was a conference that some of our Westerbork girls went to last year. We were going to do it this year. You might have remembered that I advertised for it and it was canceled. We might do it this spring again. It was about social entrepreneurship and empowerment. It was pretty cool. So I think that people who have to go to study hall should go to study hall. And I'll look up who the study hall person is and email them. But if you have questions, come and see me. And anyone who has to stay and has more questions, let me know. And don't hesitate to email me, and we can chat. Thank you.
When do you think we'll know whether we're going and what size group we'll have?
Well, this at least gives me some sense of who's interested, and then I need to, you know, follow up to see if they're really interested. And the student interest form is due the 23rd of March, so that's like the serious, another level of serious commitment. But I'd like to know before then, you know, what we're dealing with. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let me know if you have questions. Perfect.
I couldn't even like say what I was gonna say. So I was gonna find my fun words. Hello.
It's Dr.
So
they were the little look. Oh my God.
I thought it was gonna get
I
But if we can use
Well,
the
he's
car,
there.
we can use the car.
Should I stop it?
Well, I want to say that people are
Oh my god.
And then
We have another guy coming downstairs, but I
Thank you,
need,
Chelsea.
we couldn't get past this mess, but then we found it. And now,
Thank you so much.
what did you guys do?
We're still talking about